It is the 3rd of July. You are standing in a parking lot in the July heat, next to a tent held up by 2 bent poles and a prayer, and you just sold your first package of Roman candles to a family in a minivan. You made $11 in profit. You are sweating. You smell like sulfur, and you have never felt more alive. That is not the beginning of a fireworks story. That is the beginning of a business story. This is every level of a fireworks seller, from the kid who borrowed $200 from their parents and set up a folding table on the side of a county road, to the operator running a chain of seasonal stands across 3 states, clearing 7 figures every summer in 30 days. Level 1 is the borrower. You do not have startup capital. You have nerve and a relative who trusts you. You borrowed somewhere between $100 and $500. You found a wholesale fireworks supplier, and you bought the most colorful assortment you could afford. You set up wherever you could legally park: a church lot, a gas station corner, a strip mall edge, and you opened for business. Your stand is a folding table with a tarp over it. Your display is whatever fit in the back of your car. Your pricing strategy is charge what feels right. You have no system, you have no inventory tracking, you have no idea what your margin is on any individual item, but you have enthusiasm, and in the fireworks business during the week before the 4th of July, enthusiasm is worth something. The borrower's job is simple: sell everything you bought, pay back what you borrowed, and see if anything is left over. Level 2 is the hobbyist. Something was left over, not much, maybe $40 or $80 of profit after you paid back the loan, but something, and now you are thinking about next year. The hobbyist treats fireworks selling as a seasonal side hustle, not a business. They show up for 1 week a year, July 4th season, maybe New Year's Eve if they are ambitious, and they do it for the extra cash and the fun of it. They have graduated from a folding table to a slightly better setup, maybe a pop-up canopy, maybe a second table, but their operation is still informal. They buy from the same wholesale catalog they used last year. They do not track which products sell best. They do not have a regular location secured in advance. They show up, they sell, they go home. The hobbyist makes a few $100s a season and feels good about it. They are leaving significant money on the table, and they do not yet know it. Level 3 is the student of the market. Something clicked. Maybe you had a product sell out in 2 hours, and you realized you could have sold 3 times as much of it. Maybe you watched the stand across the parking lot run out of artillery shells by noon on July 3rd while you still had boxes stacked to the roof. You started paying attention. You started writing things down. Which products moved fastest? Which ones sat until the last day? What time of day was busiest? What types of customers bought what types of products? The student of the market is doing informal market research without knowing that is what it is called. They are building a data set in a notebook or their memory that will make next year's buying decisions significantly smarter than last year's. They are also starting to understand the geography of the business and deem beats. That location is not just about legality, it is about traffic counts, visibility, and proximity to neighborhoods with disposable income and large families who celebrate hard. Level 4 is the negotiator. You have been buying from the wholesale catalog at retail wholesale prices. You do not yet know that there's a tier below that. The negotiator figured it out. They reached out directly to distributors rather than ordering from catalogs. They asked about volume discounts. They learned that if you commit to buying a certain dollar amount up front, the price per unit drops significantly. They discovered that certain slow-moving distributor inventory, items that did not sell well nationally, can be purchased at deep discount and repositioned as exclusive or novelty items at the local level. The negotiator is starting to understand that the fireworks business, like every retail business, is won or lost at the buying stage. Your margin is made when you buy, not when you sell. A fireworks seller who buys smart can undercut every competitor on price and still make more money than any of them. Level 5 is the location locker. You have realized that in the fireworks business, the stand is the franchise. A great location, high traffic, high visibility, easy in and out, near a neighborhood that celebrates, is worth 10 times a mediocre location with slightly better products. The location locker starts securing their spots months or even a full year in advance. They build relationships with property owners. They pay for the right to set up before anyone else can claim the spot. In some markets, they identify 2 or 3 locations and negotiate exclusive agreements, locking out competitors entirely. They understand that a fireworks customer does not usually shop around. They go to the stand they see, they buy what they need, and they leave. The seller who is visible wins. The location locker has turned a seasonal product business into a seasonal real estate strategy. Level 6 is the tent operator. You are no longer selling out of a folding table under a tarp. You have a proper seasonal tent structure, the kind that is 16 feet wide and open on the front with proper signage, organized product displays by category, clear pricing on everything, and enough inventory that customers feel like they walked into a real store rather than a yard sale. You have hired your first help, maybe a sibling, a friend, a kid from the neighborhood, and you are paying them hourly to work the busy afternoon and evening shifts while you manage the operation. You have started accepting card payments, you have a cash box with proper change, you are running something that looks and feels like a business. Revenue for the season might be between $8,000 and $25,000. Profit depends on how well you bought and where you are located. The tent operator has crossed the invisible line between hustle and operation. Level 7 is the multi-location operator. One stand was good, 2 stands is a system. The multi-location operator has identified 2, 3, or 4 strong locations and is running all of them simultaneously during peak season. This requires coordination that a solo operator cannot manage alone. You need trusted managers at each location, a reliable supply chain that can restock multiple sites quickly, and a communication system to know what is selling where, so you can shift inventory between locations dynamically. The multi-location operator has learned something that most single-stand sellers never figure out. The logistics of running multiple locations in parallel is not twice as hard as running one. It is actually more efficient because your buying power increases, your supplier relationships deepen, and your fixed costs, like the truck you use to haul inventory, are spread across a larger revenue base. Level 8 is the brand builder. At some point in the fireworks business, product becomes secondary to reputation. The brand builder has created something customers recognize and return to. Maybe it is a name, something memorable that appears on signage across multiple locations. Maybe it is a reputation for having the biggest selection, the best prices, or the most knowledgeable staff. Maybe it is a loyalty system. Buy 10 packages, get a discount on your 11th. The brand builder is thinking beyond this season. They are thinking about customer retention in a business where the customer only shows up once a year. They are collecting contact information. They are doing social media in the weeks leading up to the holiday. They are sending text message reminders to past customers. They understand that in a seasonal business, the off-season is when the next season is won. Level 9 is the licensed distributor. Most fireworks sellers buy from distributors. The Level 9 operator has become one. They have obtained the federal and state licensing required to import or wholesale fireworks, a process that involves the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives at the federal level and varies significantly by state. They are now selling wholesale to other operators in their region, earning margin on both sides of the transaction, as a retailer at their own stands and as a supplier to competitors. This is the level at which the fireworks business stops being seasonal in a meaningful way because distribution relationships and logistics run year-round. The licensed distributor has turned a 30-day business into a 12-month operation. Level 10 is the empire builder. This is the person who figured out that the fireworks business at scale is not really about fireworks at all. It is about seasonal retail real estate, supply chain management, brand recognition, and regulatory navigation. The empire builder is running stands across multiple states, sometimes under franchise or licensing agreements that allow other operators to use their brand and buying relationships in exchange for a percentage of revenue. They have negotiated directly with manufacturers in China, where the vast majority of the world's consumer fireworks are produced, cutting out the domestic distributor layer entirely and capturing that margin themselves. They have a full-time operations team that manages locations, hiring, inventory, and compliance year-round, so that when July comes, the machine runs without them needing to be present. You started by borrowing $200 and setting up a folding table in a church parking lot in the July heat. And if I did, you kept going, kept learning, kept building. That folding table was the first location of something much larger than a fireworks stand.